Hi from MPR Leatherworks. In this leather tutorial we cover one of our older patterns which we had created way before we even had a YouTube channel. The leather dice cup with lid is a simple design, yet snug fitting and very useful. Of course you could use this design for other uses other than a dice cup. You can find the PDF pattern to make this leather dice cup on our Etsy store or on our website. You can see the links in the description below. The most frequently asked question we receive for the leather dice cup is how to stitch it all together. So in this video we will show you how to do it. As per all our hand-stitched leather patterns, start by printing the paper pattern, trim the paper pattern down, tape the pattern to the leather, punch all the holes, and cut the leather to the size indicated on the pattern. Prepare the leather edges, in this case burnishing the edges. Of course, if you are staining your leather dice cup or you would like to do some tooling or other design elements, you would do this before stitching, and you would also add your maker's mark at this stage. Next we will move on to the stitching method. The bottom part of the dice cup uses the larger rectangle and the smaller circle. Insert the stitching needles in the topmost holes of the larger rectangle as shown here. Fold the leather around to form a cylinder. Now we're going to stitch across into the same holes again. So on your left, that left thread will go through on the right hand side through the same first hole. Then the same on the right. The right thread will go through onto the left in the first hole. Now both threads will be coming out at the inside of the cylinder. You'll find that the pattern from here on is the same, so just keep watching and you'll get a hang of the pattern, and you'll carry on with this pattern right to the end, to the bottom part of the cylinder. Okay, so take the left thread and you're going to bring it up into the right hole on the second hole on the right hand side. Then the right hand thread will go through from the bottom on the second hole on the left hand side. So essentially at the back, which I'll show you now, it creates a cross stitch. So there's the X, the little cross stitch at the back. Okay, so here we go back to the first way we did it, the first method. The left hand thread will go straight over onto the right hand side into the same second hole. And then the right hand thread will go over to the left hand side into the second hole. Now we're going to start the process again. The left hand thread will go from the bottom towards the right hand side into the third hole. So it's going to cross over at the back side. So take your left thread through to the right hand side into the third hole. Then you'll take the right thread and that will cross over to the left hand side into the third hole. All the while that you're working, you just want to ensure that you're keeping a nice tension so that the two edges of the rectangle forming the cylinder are nice and snug together. And then again we're going to cross over. Left hand side is going to cross directly over to the right hand side into the third hole. And the right hand side directly over into the left hand side's third hole. And that's the pattern. You'll continue that until you get to the base of the cylinder, and there I will show you how we attach the smaller circle which will form the base of the cup. Okay, so once you've reached the base, you are going to get the small circle included in the pattern, and that's going to be stitched now to the base of the cylinder. So before we add the base, we are just going to prepare the thread. Make sure your stitches are nice and tight and that your leather is lined up nice and neatly. You can see all the cross stitches are on the inside of the cylinder, and then you ended up the bottom side with your threads coming out on the inside of the cylinder. So what you want to do now is you want to get the thread coming through the same hole, one to the top, one to the bottom. So take the right thread and thread it across to the left hand side and just pull it through. So now you have, out of the same hole, you have one thread going outwards and one thread going inwards, and that's what you're looking for. Now you're going to take the inside thread, the one that's coming on the inside of the cylinder, that piece of thread you're going to put through one of the holes in the circle. Does not matter which hole, just any hole. Push that through, and the circle will fit inside the cylinder. So now you take the one that you just threaded out from the bottom of the cylinder. You're going to cross over the base through the top, the part of the cylinder, and back through the circle, just as shown. So you'll start to see soon enough it's going to make an X. In the beginning it's a bit wobbly. It's a bit wobbly to keep it all together, but it will take shape soon enough. Okay, so you've gone from the bottom over inside the cylinder and back out again. Now the right hand thread, it's coming out of the cylinder, so you're going to go from this outside of the cylinder, you're going to go through the base and back out through the cylinder. So you're going to go cross over to the next hole and back through that hole that you just stitched through. You will see as we go along, the pattern is the same, it just remains the same. So once we pull it tight, you'll see it forms an X. Okay, so now basically we're going to continue. So just follow with this pattern. You're going to take the bottom thread, the one that's coming out from the bottom of the base, and you're going to bring it up over the edge into the next hole and down through the next open hole in the base. I'm stitching away from me to have a clearer view on the camera, so it's sometimes difficult to find the holes. The top thread will go down towards the bottom, around the outside, down, and into the holes where you just threaded now. So into the next hole, and back up through the same hole that you've just threaded previously. So in the beginning, the base will tend to want to turn a bit, so the cross stitch might not be as clear. Just keep maneuvering the base so it's in line. You will see the cross stitches start to form nicely. Just takes a little bit of maneuvering, but once you've got a few stitches down, it will stay in place and it will be much better going forward. So again, the bottom one goes up over from the top down, back down to the bottom. Then the top thread, you thread from the bottom through the holes that you've just threaded now. I've got a little snag on my thread there, so just ignore that. I'm going to stitch a little ways on, and then I'll show you again. Almost towards the end, I'll show you again. It's the same pattern that you just keep going around with. Just make sure again that the circle is fitting on the inside of the cylinder. So the circle will be flush with the edge of the cylinder. You'll see it more clearly now as we move along. Okay, so I've stitched a ways around, and I'm just going to show you again once more. It's the same, like I say, it's the same pattern all the way around. You can take the bottom one, you're going to go over from the top, down, through the base, in the next open holes. Then you're going to take the stitch coming from the top of the cylinder. You're going to go down from the bottom to the top through the holes that you've just stitched. And it's a good idea to always do the same combination, like always starting with the bottom thread or always starting with the top thread, whichever you prefer. It just makes your stitching neater, so that each one is in the right order, the same order, and it just makes it look neater. So that you'll find your bottom, this stitch that I'm doing now, that crossover of the X will always be underneath the other crossover of the X. So your stitching just looks neater if you continue using the same order. So I'm going to speed it up a bit, and you'll see it's the same. And you're going to continue until you've reached the beginning point where you started, and so that you have X's going all the way around the base. So once we get there, I will show you the next step. Okay, so you've gone all the way around and you've gone right to the end where all the X's are joined together. Now the last step is we're going to go back one, just one. We're not going to go through two holes, just one hole. So the top one will go through across to the bottom one. Just look at the video and you'll see. And so you're basically going to backtrack on that X. You just want the thread to come through on the inside of the dice cup. And then the bottom thread, you're going to go back one hole to the top. And you might just need to use a pliers or something to get inside, to grab a hold of that needle and to pull it through. So now both of your threads will be coming out on the inside of the dice cup, and that's what you want, because here is where we're going to tie it off. So just make sure it's pulled nice and tight and that you're happy with the way the base is sitting, and basically tie off your thread. It's a little bit of a tight spot, but just tie it off into the bottom there and just sear the edges. And basically that is the base of your dice cup done. So the lid of the dice cup is done in exactly the same way. You start with, it's just a very small cylinder, and then the lid. So it's done exactly the same way, and you'll also finish it off on the inside of the lid, and there your lid is done. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So hope you enjoyed it. It should fit nice and snug if you've used the right leather as per the requirements. And there you have your nice leather dice cup. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, share the video, and please visit our website for more patterns and video tutorials.